Hello friends, my name is Akshay and on the occasion of Teachers Day, I'm hosting this podcast on behalf of EdPrime. Just to let you know, EdPrime is a revolutionary all-in-one education management super software that offers research-driven intelligent technology and multi-layered management expertise to streamline all administration processes and improve outcomes for schools and colleges. Teachers Day, a day to honor, recognize, and celebrate the educators, is celebrated marking the birth anniversary of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the first Vice President of India and the second President of India, a teacher, scholar, and philosopher par excellence. There is an old saying, a teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. This gem of proverbial wisdom accurately highlights the crucial and unparalleled role of a teacher in transforming the lives of students. Each one of us have experienced this transformation and have abundant personal experiences that stand as testimony to the unmistakable role of teachers in human development. It would not be wrong to say that we are what we are because of our teachers who crafted, nurtured, and strengthened our fragile minds at every step. There are some teacher stories that I want to share with you today. Stories of grit, determination, and extreme dedication towards the noble profession of teaching. We start with Mr. Aditya Kumar, also known as the Cycle Guruji. Aditya Kumar, popularly known as the Cycle Guruji, has taken education to places where schools couldn't reach. This great man rides about 60 to 65 kilometers on his bicycle every day to teach. He provides free education to children living in the slums of Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. He has been doing this inspiring duty since 1995. Being born into a poor family and having no support for formal education, Aditya Kumar says he is one of his students and he can live their situation. He carries a board on his bicycle. Whenever and wherever a student stops him, he sits and teaches, be it on the roadside, park, or near the slums. Inspiring, isn't it? Then we have Mr. Arvind Gupta, a teacher who makes learning a fun activity. How we all wish we could learn science like this. Arvind Gupta is such a fun teacher, he actually teaches science concepts in the process of creating toys. He creates these toys from trash, explaining the scientific stuff behind each one of the steps to making these toys. He also uploads videos of his fun teaching techniques on YouTube. How awesome is that? Then we have Mr. Rajesh Kumar Sharma, founder of the Under the Bridge School. How many of you crib about a broken chair? You will think again if you read this. Rajesh Kumar Sharma, this man runs a school under a Delhi metro bridge. His students come from the nearby slums. He calls it Under the Bridge School, and his student strength is about 200 every day. Building or no building, chairs or no chairs, this man only believes in sharing knowledge, somehow and anyhow. Speaking of teachers, we must also mention Mr. Abdul Malik. Coming late to work since you live a tad bit away from workplace sounds familiar? You might want to know about this dedicated man because you will find not many like him. Abdul Malik is a primary school teacher in Malappuram district of Kerala. He swims to work every day because it is the shortest route to reach his school. He ditches his 3-hour-long ride on the bus to cover 12 kilometers, instead opts for swimming through the gushing river, which is easier and faster but not safer. He takes his river route for the humble reason to reach his school on time. This guy deserves a medal, isn't he? March 2020, the entire world felt a massive shock. As the unprecedented disruption of COVID-19 unfolded in front of us, The new normal of remote learning and work from home culture also became the only way through which everyday tasks could be accomplished. The lives of children changed with the blink of an eye. As every organization moved to an online mode of functioning, so did the schools. How would we have even imagined learning without our teachers, the unsung heroes, the patient educators who went to incredible lengths to ensure that students kept learning, no matter what? The teachers went to extreme lengths of sacrifice and application to make online classes a successful reality of everyday learning. We've always sent children to school. With online learning, the teachers came to our home. Education has been on the front line of COVID-19. For more than 1.5 years, teachers around the world have been navigating education systems affected by school closures, adapting and improvising to keep their students learning. Even as many countries usher their students back into classrooms with all the fresh challenges that entails, inspiration can be found in the examples of teachers who rose to meet the occasion. They remind us that teachers are more than just conduits of knowledge. They are a vital lifeline for their students, now and during whatever is next. The challenge faced by Franciscus Xavierus Faima, a teacher from Indonesia, is a familiar one. How can teachers and students connect if many are not connected to the internet? Internet coverage in Indonesia is fairly high. Around 66% of people have access, but connectivity rarely stretches beyond urban hubs. While schools are closed, students in remote communities like Faimau's may not be getting any education at all. Faimau from the Kisil Fatutasu Elementary School in East Nusa Tenggara now travels for hours each day to set up small learning groups. He takes a few students at a time through lessons gathered around his single laptop. Elsewhere in Indonesia, responding to the pandemic has required a creative approach. In West Papua, teachers are working with education consultants to design offline curriculums, printing and distributing materials that creatively integrate students' home surroundings into their lessons. A simple pot of boiling water, for example, can teach a student much about physics and mathematics. For Faimau, all this extra effort is simply part of a teacher's duty. Education, he understands, works best when it is consistent. Children have to keep learning because if we just leave, they will go back to square one. His ad hoc classes may not be able to offer his students everything they would get in a traditional classroom, but for now, keeping them engaged is enough. In Guanajuato, Mexico, a teacher known as Nay recently won widespread praise on Twitter after a picture emerged of her holding a makeshift lesson in the back of her red pickup truck. She and a student, both masked, sat around a small table poring over schoolwork. Nay is an elementary school teacher who specializes in working with children with disabilities such as autism. Just over half of people in Mexico have access to the internet. Aware that many of her pupils cannot get online or even have books, she converted her truck into a mobile classroom and traveled for hours a day to sit with them in person. While Nay is insistent that her extra efforts are nothing special, her story does highlight how the pandemic has hit vulnerable students the hardest. In these difficult times, it's those students who occupy their teachers' thoughts the most. Subrata Pati from Kolkata teaches at two educational institutions, Adamas University and Rice Education. His village is in West Bengal's Jungle Mahal area, where the internet connection is very patchy. The 35-year-old, after facing several connectivity issues, decided to climb a neem tree neighboring his home to take care of his internet troubles. Every morning, Subrata used to sit on a platform that rests on tree branches, which he made with help from his friends. The platform is made of bamboo, gunny sacks, and hay. How amazing is that? A mathematics teacher residing in Kashmir, Munir Alam, wakes up at 4:30 a.m. these days, drives to Srinagar's Old Town area with a whiteboard stand and walks 500 meters into the green cover of the forest. Here, he conducts an open-air mathematics class, which attracts many students in and around the town. From under the bridge to sitting on the top of branches to conducting classes at the back of a truck, the biggest drivers of learning have been our teachers, who adapted to the online mode of teaching, learned the processes, and went out of their way to prepare curriculum, presentations, and much more. They literally responded overnight to teach in situations that had new modalities with variable internet access. However, this is not the first time many of the teachers have found the capacity to do great things for and with students, families, and communities, despite sparse resources and a pervasive lack of respect. From embracing remote learning opportunities to providing emergency childcare, our teachers have stepped up to the plate. This Teachers Day, let us all take a moment to cherish and uphold the great role that our teachers have come to play in the lives of millions of kids throughout the country. Let us be reminded of the great effort and sacrifice displayed by our teachers in the face of adversity. They have truly risen to this occasion, and let's pamper them with appreciation deeper than ever before. Thank you everyone, and thank you EdPrime for making a show that inspires us to respect and love our teachers even more. For us, every day is Teachers Day.